You see, you need to understand that what you call a person is what you call out of that person. So if you have a colleague at work and you consistently refer to that individual as baby girl, what is going to happen is you are creating an atmosphere for that person to, begin to have emotional connections and attachment to you. That individual will begin to feel like your baby, and unconsciously you will begin to feel a sense of responsibility towards that individual. And you see, these things happen gradually, but you need to understand that there is power in the words that we use. Hi, this is Akintola Samuel, and you're welcome to Q&A Thursdays. Every Thursday, I answer questions on relationships and marriage and everything in between. So if you have a question about your relationship, about your marriage, right, kindly send it in and I'll take time out to answer your question. Someone asked, as a married woman, you stumble on your husband's phone and see him referring to a colleague as baby girl. What do you do? This is a very good question. This is, I strongly believe this is something that's becoming, commonplace today, the use of endearments, and especially in the workplace. It is something that happens often, right? Because one of the things I've even, I just, thought about it sometimes back is the fact that, have you ever thought about it, that you actually spend more time with the people you work with than you do with your spouse? Before the days of remote work, right? Before the days of working from home, you actually spend more time with your colleagues than the people that you can even claim to love. You spend more time with your colleagues at work than you do with your wife, than you do with your kids. And these are the most important people in your life, but you don't spend as much time, right, with them. Some people say things like it's not about the quantity of time, it's about the quality of time. But you see, you cannot truly have quality time if you don't create, quantity time, as it were, right? But back to the question, right, that what do you do if you stumble on your husband's phone, right, and you find him referring to a colleague as baby girl? Now, one of the things I want to address is, did you snoop into your husband's phone? Is he an issue of lack of trust, or do you have access to his phone and you saw the message? Now, if you have access to each other's phone and you saw that particular, endearment being used for a colleague, it might just be an innocent endearment, right? Because you had access to his phone, and if you didn't have any access to his phone in the first place, and probably you just snooped into his phone and you saw him saying that or referring to a colleague as baby girl, now that might be a cause for alarm, right? It may be something you might really need to look into, and that very quickly. But if you have access to each other's phone and you just saw that, it might just be that it's, something that is out of ignorance or out of, said out of innocence. But I really want to address this way from two perspectives. Number one, we need to understand that words are seeds. Words are seeds, right? And to people, I know a lot of people do this innocently, just like I said earlier. A lot of people do this innocently when they are getting close to someone of the opposite sex. They just refer to the person out of, trying to be close and being fond of the person. You just say, hello, dear, hello, my darling, sweetheart, and all those things. But you see, you need to understand this, that words are seeds. Words are seeds, and seeds don't die. Right, seeds, it might seem as if words don't die. It might seem as if the words you are saying has no effect, has no impact. But trust me, the seed has been sown. You see, that's why Jesus said in Mark 11 and verse 23, he said that you will have whatsoever you say. You will have whatsoever you say. Your words are critical. The thing about words is this: words, the words you speak, eventually creates a particular atmosphere. What you call a thing or a person is what you call out of that person or thing. That's why you see, according to the account in the book of Genesis, when God made man, right, when Adam saw Eve, we are told, according to scriptures, that he said, wow, this is the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. She's going to be called Eve because she's the mother of all living. Did you see that? The reason why Adam gave her that name was because of what he wanted to call out of her. we're told that Abraham, when he was called, we're told that Abraham, when he was called out of his father's house, his name was Abraham. But at a point, God gave him a promise, and the promise was that he was going to become father of nations. But you see, the name that he had was not suitable for the destiny, or probably, or better still, was not in alignment, right, with the destiny that God had for him. So God at a point had to change his name from Abram to Abraham. Abraham meaning father of many nations. And because that was God's plan for him. So even though he didn't have kids yet, every time his wife would call him Abraham, you see, she was calling something out of him that was there but had not yet been made manifest. Same thing with Sarai. Before she became Sarah, Sarah also means mother of nations, right? But before she was referred to as Sarah, right, she was being called Sarai. So when God changed her name from Sarai to Sarah, every time her husband Abraham would call her Sarah, he was calling out of her what was on the inside of her but had not yet been made manifest. You look at someone like Jacob also, right? Jacob, his name was a cunning man, right? A swindler. But God's plan and purpose for him was not for him to be crafty. So a point came in his life when he had a supernatural encounter, and his name was changed from Jacob, right, to Israel. That is, from an individual, he morphed into a nation because of the name that he was called. I said all that to say this. You see, you need to understand that what you call a person is what you call out of that person. So if you have a colleague at work and you consistently refer to that individual as baby girl, what is going to happen is you are creating an atmosphere for that person to, begin to have emotional connections and attachment to you. That individual will begin to feel like your baby, and unconsciously you will begin to feel a sense of responsibility towards that individual. And you see, these things happen gradually, but you need to understand that there is power in the words that we use. You look at someone like Saul, right, the apostle, his name eventually was changed to Paul. But you see, when he was Saul, he was destroying the church. He was destroying the destiny that God had for him. Now, when you look at Saul in the Old Testament, what was the destiny of Saul? Saul was meant to be great, but he lost his throne. He lost his destiny. He didn't fulfill his dreams, right? I strongly believe Saul, right, the apostle, who eventually became Paul the apostle, who was a student of history, right, must have read the account of how Saul ended. And that's why his name was changed to Paul the apostle, right? You see that? So the names that we call people and things are very critical. There is power in the names that we use, right? So instead of, referring to, so probably you are someone watching this and you also do that innocently. You refer to your friends, you refer to your colleagues, and I've even had some people say, oh, but this person is my relative, she's my cousin, right? I've seen people, I've heard of cases of cousins and relatives who got emotionally and sexually involved, right? So don't be deceived, right? Don't deceive yourself. I can't remember exactly where it is in scriptures, where it said in the scripture that can you pour hot coals in your laps and not be burnt? Can you walk barefooted on hot coals and believe that your faith is not going to get burnt, right? So if you don't want to call something out of someone, it's better you just don't call them that thing, right? Just refer to them as their names, right, as much as you can, or use other words or other nicknames. You can even use nicknames instead of using endearments that eventually create emotional attachment. So I want to believe that I've answered your question in my best way possible. So words like baby girl, words like babe, words like sweetheart, all those words, they might sound innocent, but they are creating a particular atmosphere, and they are conditioning the individual you are calling that name to behave towards you in a particular way, and for you to also behave towards them in a particular way. By the time you refer to someone as baby girl over time, and even if assuming you are a married person, according to this question, you are a married person, and the person you are referring to as baby girl, darling, and all those words, right, is a single, right, who is not even in a relationship, guess what? Over time, she'll begin to, get emotionally connected to you. Before you know it, she'll start dressing for you because she wants to hear more of those sweet words, right? So she looks very good one day and you say, wow, you're looking so smashingly gorgeous. Because, she might not even understand what is happening. The next day she does her makeup. She takes time out to do her makeup and say, wow, I love that. Before you know it, she's doing things because of you. And before you know it, you guys, it starts with a dinner, it starts from a date, a casual date, an innocent date, a work date. Before you know it, things can erupt from there. So I'd encourage you, if you are if you are such an individual that uses endearment for the opposite sex, I'd encourage you, all right, to reduce it or possibly eradicate it, right? Use those words for the person you are in love with, for the person you are married to, because what you call a thing and a person is what you call out of them. So I honestly believe I've answered your question, right? If I've not answered it the way you want to, you can send me a message, right? My contact details are in the description, video descriptions below, or you can send in a message through the comment, right, section. I want to know what you think. Do you have any other perspective, right, to this question? Probably you're watching this and you have another perspective. Talk about it. Let's talk about it in the comment section below, right? And if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do that right away, right? Subscribe, turn on notification. And if you found this value adding, so that other people can also see this video, YouTube's algorithm helps people to see this video if you click on that thumbs up icon. So kindly do that. Click on the thumbs up icon so that more people can see this video if you have found it value adding. So just do that for me, right? Subscribe to the channel. Click on that bell icon to turn on notification so that every time a new video drops, you can be notified. And number 3, right, click on that thumbs up icon. So see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now, and thanks for watching. God bless you.